these things. And the funny thing about it, I like to keep things to myself as long as possible, because every time you sell something, my theory is I'm selling a little bit of myself all the time. And I've been carving for 50-some years, and on these days there's going to be nothing left for me to sell.
But you know what? We'll all have it.
Awesome.
It'll last forever, Sonny.
Yeah.
That's the beauty
Yeah.
of it.
And I always, when I do interviews, I get interviews. When I built a chair for the Pope's visit in the Northwest Territories in Fort Simpson,
How cool is
you
that?
had to see the media. There was more mics stuck in front of me than with a stick at. And out of the clear, George Tucker, remember George
Tucker, yeah.
Yeah, he calls on the PA system. Is Sonny MacDonald in the crowd? Come up to the media tent. They had a huge tent. So I went there. We weren't going to go there at all. And so Albert, the late Albert Burke, he looked after that. And he called me up. He said, Sonny, you got to come up and see the Pope. Well, I said, yeah, I'll see him on TV. It's easier. Well, anyway, we went, me and the wife. And we get there, and we realize there's no place to stay. Every flipping place is booked solid. Even the park benches were booked solid. And so I saw George. He said, "Where are you staying?" I said, "I don't know. I never thought." And he says, "There's no place to stay. Everything's booked. Even the park benches are all booked." I said, "Oh, Jesus." But he says, CBC got me a beautiful room, twin beds. I said, "Oh, well, if you do," I said, "Sonny, you're welcome to stay." So we stayed. I said, "I'll stay there in your room, me and the wife, on one condition: you don't snore." So we stayed there. But they called me, and when I was doing, I have to relate the story. When I was doing this project, when they called me to do, I wasn't thinking of anything like what this depicted, and what the significance of this and that, and I have photos in the other room there to show. And when they asked me now, how did you get this idea? And you'd never believe what, just like I rehearsed. It's like somebody's behind me telling me what to say. Maybe it was the Pope. Who knows?
It's that greater power.
Well, this is it. No word of a lie. And I said, well, this what depicts it, and this is why I did this, because of the significance of the fur trade in the territories, and the animals, and the hide, and the whole, it was just coming. And I did sprays of flowers on the big moose antlers, huge moose antlers, and 3 sprays of flowers, and they just look good, And they said, well, why did you do? I said, this signifies the 3 major rivers in the territories that the Aboriginal people used since Moby Dick was a little minnow. and the way the petals, I carved the petals. And I said, that signifies the campsites where you put wood, into the middle of the fire. Oh my God. Everybody's But there was somebody telling me to do this, to say this. Brilliant. It was just unreal. It's as if, and it hadn't even dawned on me why I did that. But
when you were doing it.
When I was doing it,
isn't that funny?
It's just incredible. I just, and why I made the moose antlers. But anyway, what had happened prior to that? I had these huge sets of moose antlers in my basement at the house, in my work shop. And I had them right near the staircase, the stairs, and I stubbed my flipping toe, and I cursed a blue streak. But I didn't have no place to put them, so I just left them there, And when they phoned me, they said, "Could you build a throne for this holiness?" I said, "Like what? Give me an idea." I have never built a throne in my life. So something like the speaker's chair at the ledge. I said, "What?" I said, "Where in the hell am I going to get the wood to start off with?" when do you want this? 6 weeks from now. I said, what?
What?
Only
You're
6
kidding
weeks.
me.
I said, no word of a lie. Anyway, so I said, well, leave it with me. I said, you know. So I was going downstairs. I stubbed my bloody toe on that big knee saddlet. No word of a lie. Instantly, I got a picture. Instantly.
Of what it would look like, what you were
it was going to look like, yeah. So I took pen to paper, drew a line, drew some designs, and I sent it to them. I said, yeah, that's what we want. When can you have it? I said, oh, you said 5 weeks or 6 weeks, and it's almost 5 weeks now. So I went down to the shop and I started carving. Be damned, 120 hours I finished that.
Wow.
That.
Crazy.
And my aunt made up Brian's mother-in-law, Brian Hubert.
Yeah. Karen.
No. Erin. Yes, Erin. Mary
Mary.
made me a cushion with beaver pelts, and I made it, and I had a great big chunk of wood, birch about that thick. I had intention of making a table with it, like almost like a coffee table thing, and I ended up I used that for the seat, and I rounded out, and I'm sitting on this thing, and they sent it to Fort Simpson. And then they called me after the crowd to come in. He says, the Pope's a little guy, you know. What? He's a short little guy. His feet's going to be dangling when he sits on that chair. I says, what? His feet's going to be dangling. I said, well, what? Well, I said, we need a footrest. I said, okay, get a guy with a power saw coming in, let's go into the forest, we'll go and knock the tree down. I made a footrest about that thick, 6.5 inches high. And this thing's in Fort Simpson. Sits in the town hall.
Yeah, it's the House Museum.
Yeah, half museum, half town hall.
Wow.
So anyway, that's the story. And I'm sticking with it.
That is pretty exciting. What a great story.
Anyway.
Yeah, when I get back to Simpson, I'll get some pictures of.
Yeah, email me.